Hey, welcome back everyone. I am Matt Larson, and now for the past few weeks we've been hearing about this whole Benghazi thing that took place. Now, if you're not familiar with what took place, basically a U.S. consulate was overrun because what they said, it was angry people rioting over this anti-Islam film. And now it's come out, we all know that it's not about that. And there's a whole lot of bunch of different backstories around this story, and they're starting to kind of come out of the woodwork, and more things are coming out for some people to decipher whether it's just opinion, complete out lie, or some truth to it. And there's a letter that came out actually not that long ago, and Ben Swan did a great video about it, talking about how 3 generals in the army have had to step down or were denied a promotion. The director of the CIA, David Petraeus, has retired or stepped down and retired. He's completely gone. He had some scandal with some biographer that followed him a year ago or something in Afghanistan while they were over there. And it's just a whole lot of funky things that are coming around that happened around the election time to kind of, well, you'll see. I'm going to read this letter for you and try to pay attention. If not, I will put a link down below in the description to this actual letter. So it started to sources in the State Department and the CIA and intercepted communications from the Muslim Brotherhood. Obama staged the attack in Benghazi in order to create a monumental October surprise that would guarantee him re-election. Yes, you read that right, and no, I'm not making this up. Obama, we now know, is and has been working with Muslim Brotherhood secretly to engineer the release of the blind sheikh, Omar Abdel Rahman, the mastermind behind the 1993 World Trade Center attack. In Obama's October surprise, he intentionally set up the consulate to have no security so that Chris Stevens could be kidnapped and then held for ransom by Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood. Then, several days before the election, the plan was to trade Chris Stevens for the blind sheikh, making himself look like a hero, and all but guaranteeing re-election. This was one of the top reasons why Obama was so insistent on the Muslim Brotherhood getting $1.2 billion in U.S. aid. They are to have a primary role in getting Obama reelected. That is why, even though they knew days before the attack it was going to occur, no effort was made to bolster security. It was intended to be non-existent. The Libyan security forces were intended to quietly slip into the night and when the attack began. And they did, just as planned. That is why, even though 2 C-130U gunships, which were built specifically for this kind of attack, and which could have saved the lives of our people there, were a mere 45 minutes away, were never scrambled at any time during that attack. There is to be no resistance whatsoever. That is why there were not 1, but 2 armed drones flying over the consulate during the conflagration. Our CIA operatives on the ground were painting targets because they knew air cover was available. That is why, even though requesting support and backup 3 times, their requests were not ignored, but they were intentionally and specifically denied 3 times. They were told to stand down, which basically means surrender. That was part of Obama's plan. They are not to fight back. They would potentially undermine the kidnapping effort and cause unnecessary complications. That is why, even though the CIA operatives and ex-Navy SEALs were on the ground providing real-time reports, and even though they were lighting up the source of the mortars attacking the compound with lasers, no gunships or support ever came. They weren't supposed to resist. That wasn't part of the plan. It also wasn't part of the plan for one of the CIA operatives to intentionally defy Obama's orders, and who rescued the body of Sean Smith and then stood up against, again, orders and engaged the enemy who was attacking American soil. It was supposed to be clean, a quick and efficient fight. Kidnap the ambassador and get out. Then save the day in the nick of time. They didn't factor in any tiny group of highly trained ex-Navy SEALs/CIA operatives, American patriots and heroes. Even though they eventually lost their lives in the firefight, they managed to employ the full measure of their skills and took out over 80 attackers in the process, which enraged the attackers, who were led to believe that they would incur no resistance. That is why Ambassador Stevens was raped, sodomized, murdered, and dragged through the streets. In their warped minds, they believe that they have been betrayed by the U.S. yet again. They believe that Obama was their friend. They believe that they're getting their beloved blind sheik back. And yet, here were 80 of their own dead by American hands. Obama was asked directly in an interview if he denied the request for assistance. He refused to answer, but instead droned on with the canned response, promising to bring those responsible to justice. Former CIA and State Department personnel are coming out now with damning evidence that indicts President Obama and reveals the truth about what is going on. Hillary Clinton, who is now openly laying the blame at the feet of the president after falling on her own sword in a premature show of loyalty to the administration. Now, they're talking about how the video defense was carefully crafted weeks in advance to explain the attack. If this doesn't enrage you, if you are not moved enough to contact your congressman about this, you are not worthy of your citizenship. So, wow. There's a lot of information in that, and I believe that this could possibly be the other half of what Ben Swan was talking about how there's a lot of information we don't know about that happened in the Benghazi attack. I could definitely see a lot of this stuff being plausible. I mean, to be told to stand down when they say it's not warranting of their troops and put them in harm, I'm pretty sure that's their job, just put them in harm most of the time. So I want to know, what do you guys think? I'm going to post the link down below in the description. Check it out for yourself. It's a lengthy letter, but I think it's worth a read. At least it'll get you thinking about it. Google the Benghazi attacks, and you'll see a lot of similar information to this. But for now, I ask that you guys thumbs up this video, share it with friends and family. If you're new to my videos, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the current political news. As always, I'm Matt Larson. Go Ron Paul. Peace.